here we are. What a new space. Apartment living. It's really a luxury condo that we've got here. And the last time that I was making YouTube videos was when I was living in my own place in college. I only had 1 year of that. And what happened was I realized that I had not been really making any videos, even though I had a camera and I had done a little bit of photography work the summer prior at my summer job at Camp Phillip. And so I thought, what can I do? And I was so creatively restless that I was like sitting in my car. Like I literally got up in the middle of the night and was like, I need to be making something of my life. I'm 19 years old. And I would get up and go to the parking lot and get in my Buick LeSabre and turn it on. And at least it happened multiple times. One of those times it was 2 a.m. and I was sitting in the LeSabre, put the camera on, and I made this like manifesto of like all the things I was like gonna make, and I was just so intense about it. And to this day, I kind of like cringe. I don't cringe at myself. I'm very aware of when I make like a big statement if I'm gonna do this big creative thing, to be careful about it. And I think that I also notice it in other people, and I don't know, I see it as part of the process that a lot of artists and creative people go through, that you have like a big dream and want to put it out there. You want to say something really grand and make this big commitment. But really what's happening is it's like your subconscious just like screaming at you. You're not doing what you could be doing. You're not doing enough. So you're like almost telling yourself like, I will do something. I will not let myself die like this without having started my YouTube channel so I can gain a following and have people love me. So maybe that's what I was doing. I think that's definitely where I was at. And gosh, I was thinking about something recently, how, when you go through your camera roll, it can be really like, just humiliating, even to yourself. Like you go back through your Google Photos or your Photos app on your phone. I have photos going back all the way because they're all saved to the cloud, I think, at least through high school. And I'll have like Notes app stuff screenshotted and different stuff I was inspired by, and it's just so sappy. And there's lots of big predictions, or like, here's my album, and I have like track lists and albums that I've never made. And it covers the whole span of creative things, right? Music projects and different groups I wanted to start, videos, books, all sorts of creative projects. And I think the tendency is to get really get cringe at that. I think there's like a meme going on right now about what you get your memories. New memory for you, like Apple shares a memory for you or Google shares a memory for you, and it's like this terrible thing that happened to you that you happen to have a photo of, and you're like, thanks for bringing that up. But I would much rather continue to look back and cringe a little bit than to just have that stop. Like I'd really worry about if all of a sudden it just stopped and life just became super normal. At least personally. Not that that's bad. I mean, I guess if I decided I wanted to stop being cringe entirely, and just focused mainly on trying to not be cringe, or not do something that I later decided I didn't want to do anymore. If that was my sole pursuit, if I decided that was going to be my sole pursuit, then I have to stand behind it because that's my decision. But I don't know, just something I've been kind of pondering about. Is that a good idea to cringe at myself? Regardless, I am working on a vlog right now, and it's something I've been working on it for, it was created in January of 2025, and it's going to be finished in the next in the next 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks, and then it's going to be posted sometime after that. It's a vlog of a trip I went on in China with my friends Jonas and Aya and Mary, and it kind of feels like the type of videos I made back in that era in college when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with a camera or artistically, creatively, whatever. And the interesting thing is that what happened after that. I made a vlog. That was my expression, was here's how I can actually do something, is by making a vlog. And so I just started it and jumped into it, and I thought this will be public, so that means I can't really back out of it as easily, because people will at least ask me about it if I stop doing it, and I'll keep doing the vlog. And I definitely felt self-conscious about it back then. I remember one thing I used to say to myself is to not compare myself to all the best creators on YouTube, but to compare myself to the other people in my school who were vlogging, which of course was no one that I knew, and it was a pretty small school, so it seemed like it was pretty much no one. So that was which I knew, and that was my way of convincing myself, was compare yourself to the people who are actually in your community, who are doing the thing that you want to do. And usually, if you break it down that small, it's not that hard to think of yourself more highly and be more proud of what you're doing. And I think on most accounts that was successful. It was a really nice way to, first of all, we're talking about 2020 as well. So it was a really nice way to be actually doing something in 2020. And I'm very happy that I found that. It strengthened some friendships that I had at the time. And I think I got better at video editing. And actually, I later started a wedding videography business, which is how I, afford this penthouse that I have here in Milwaukee, is by making wedding films. That is my full-time business. Full-time, somewhat. I take a lot of time off. But that's what I later started, and I actually sent one of my first clients who wanted to see portfolio. I sent my first non-friend client. I sent them vlogs as a way to show that I could make videos, and they were like, "Oh, this looks really cool," which is so funny. I can't imagine sending that to my clients nowadays. And yeah, it worked out. I mean, I shot their wedding, and it was in Milwaukee. And back then, it would have been crazy to imagine making enough money to live in Milwaukee, and then that dream became a reality, and slowly but surely I actually ended up here. But I never had the goal to start that business. It was really more of a curiosity once I was making the vlogs. The crazy thing is I don't even remember how it started. I just had a thought. I knew my friends were getting married that summer, Eli and Cassandra, and I reached out to them and asked if I could shoot their wedding. But I don't, because I wasn't thinking too hard about I need more money back then. It was kind of classic. I had a $10 an hour job working in tech services at my school, and I made enough money to go get coffee, go to Quick Trip, and get what I needed. It wasn't, I just didn't think about money like that. I thought I didn't have big aspirations for what I wanted to buy in college. I was just doing normal stuff with the money that I had. And I didn't think about really starting a business. I didn't even think about I could go full time with this until late into my maybe midway through my second year of doing weddings. And I didn't actually get serious about educating myself until my senior year of college. In the second semester, that's when I joined my first mastermind and started learning more about how to level up and make more money off of wedding films. And then even then I didn't book my first wedding film at anything close to what would generate like a livable wage until that like May. So I was just kind of building the car as I drove it for the whole time that I was full time after college. And granted, I wasn't paying rent at that time. I was living at home for a bit, living at Camp Phillip for a bit while volunteering there, and then living back at home for a bit. And that was a 2-year stint of doing that, of kind of couch surfing in a way, before moving here. But what's crazy to think about looking back at that is that I never started a creative job on purpose. I went to school for, meaningfully actually studied in school for 2 different things: computer science, programming, and business. And not entrepreneurship business, like econ, accounting, financial planning. Those were kind of like the interests there. I got not econ. I had no interest in econ. I did think about being an accountant at one point, to which my mother's reply was, "You can't be an accountant." She essentially said that, which it stuck with me. That's very fun. Because I think that was honestly, it felt like a vote of confidence, but I digress. I went to school to study normal things and imagined going to get a normal job. I did well in school. Whenever I was trying, I did well in school. I kind of stopped trying once I had the wedding videography business and knew that I was going to do that. But before then, I did try, and I did well. And I did well in every workforce I was a part of. I assumed that I would have gotten a corporate job and done what I normally do, to progress in those situations, be kind to people, work really hard, do well socially, progress up. And I kind of just got dumped on this alternate path of being a creative. But what's interesting about that to me is that it's possible that it's like sharpened the creative tools, but then it also kind of suffocates a bit of that initial creative spirit that went into the vlogs. Because when you're making a business in creating videos, you do it eventually you have to get to this point of doing it in more of a structured way and being methodical, working with systems to really be able to create something that works and that allows you to then live a normal life outside of it. Like, you have to go get groceries, you have to go, I go get groceries, I go to the gym, I go for a walk to get outside, I see friends, travel, go to church, do normal things around that business. If you're just full creative brain all the time, you're going to have this super disorganized life, and it's unhealthy and all that. And of course, that wouldn't be my goal, so that's, how I approach it. And it, especially in this building phase of getting to the point of being able to afford a life like this. And when I say afford a life like this, obviously this is not actually a penthouse. However, the way that I choose to approach this is I don't like taking, I like hedging financially a lot. So I like to be able to save a lot of money in whatever phase of life I'm in. So that's why I think it took a while to be in the city as well, because I like to be able to live cheaply and afford to be investing and saving and whatnot. So in that process of getting to this point, I haven't done as much as I maybe would have liked creatively in other areas, or maybe I'm still doing stuff. But what I'm getting at recently is it's like the creative, what's the word I'm looking for? The spirit, that wasn't the word I'm looking for, I don't know if I'll find it. the spirit of the task has changed. When you're vlogging in the way that I was vlogging and making videos, there was little forays into like trying to make something that I thought people could watch, but the initial things were like, even if the title and thumbnail looked like an attention grabbing thing, it was just a parody of what I've grown up seeing as vlog titles and thumbnails. I never actually had any desire for those things to be commercially viable or attract eyeballs from strangers. It was just for fun. And not just for fun. Sorry. Because there's nuance. That's not just... What's fun is eating ice cream and watching YouTube or Netflix and sleeping in and drinking coffee all day, playing music. These are some things that are fun to me. Those are some things that I really enjoy. Making the vlogs wasn't just fun. It's like it was a need to create. It was an intentional plan to pursue a creative end in my work or in my life, like a understanding that I strongly desire to. There's some noises outside. I'm surprised it took 22 minutes for there to be noises outside. Understanding a need to have a creative product exist in the world and working methodically towards that in day-to-day life, and doing that simply because, and an understanding that creative product is simply for your own enjoyment, like long-term enjoyment. You make it the way you want to make it, simply because you enjoy it that way. So when I'm making wedding videos, I'm not doing it like that. I do have an ethic of making wedding videos in a more thought out way than most wedding videographers I know, and I don't take certain shortcuts that others may, because I have a long-term vision and I have a certain way of approaching things, I think, from how I grew up and the work ethic I was taught and I saw as valuable, like building up a strong reputation and whatnot. So there's that way that I approach those videos. But there's also the pressure of it. There's certain lines you can't cross, and there's certain things that you can be funny about and not be funny about, and certain things you need to just play it safe, because you're kind of going in blind and just guessing what somebody's going to like in their film, and then you give it to them and hope they love it. So there's that big pressure. The vlog, what's funny about a vlog specifically, or just making videos on a YouTube channel, or making spewing opinions like this, is that you can just make it the way you want to make it, and then there it is. And I actually, the whole summary of what this video is and what I'm trying to get across here, in putting this out before the vlogs and just starting to kind of get the conversation going here, is that let me collect the ideas here. Oh, getting used to talking on a camera again. It has been a bit. And I was working late, so I think my brain is just a little bit slow in the uptake. But here's the real takeaway here that I had, and kind of mulling these thoughts over the past about 18 and a half hours or so. If I didn't have a creative job and I started making videos on the side like this, I think I would approach them more like a business, because I would see them as my creative output, my whole deal, this big deal. This is what I do. And so I'd have more pressure on them. But because I already have a technically creative outlet, which is running a business, and the fact that business happens to be a creative business, I already do so much daily creativity, and that creativity is creativity that generates revenue and leads and connections all at the same time. And so that's high pressure creativity. That's creativity with all these strings attached, and it's in it's a fairly well established field of creativity. There's an established network of people that I'm indirectly or directly competing against in that field, and so I'm mulling all those things over in my head, and I'm sourcing inspirations from other creatives and trying to continue to grow and level up, progress, however you want to say it. That's all already happening over here. So what I want to do over here, and what I believe I've earned to do over here, is to just make videos here and there, or make a bunch of videos that are just how I want them to be. And I will not, like, personal rule, not like, just literally for my own sake, for my own enjoyment of it. Just like, I make a rule that I have an office, and in the office, no phones. Like, nobody's telling me I can't have phones in there. I just don't want them because I think that's fun. Or I might say I want to do a walk every day in the morning, which I do. Why do I want to do that? Well, I don't have to, but I get to see the sunrise. I get to enjoy my first cup of coffee in nature every morning, and I get to say hi to strangers and see dogs walking around. Like, there's a lot of benefits to that, so I make a rule because it's fun, because it's it's just for my benefit. So the rule for this, YouTube, kind of just starting to not like starting to make YouTube videos again, but just opening it up to, like, this is something that I'll have as a possibility in my creative output again. And I believe that I will make a bunch of them. At least this one and the China vlog. And some more China content, hopefully soon. But the rule for it is to never commercialize it, as in, like, try to get more views or try to get more engagement or try to make it edited in such a way that more people can see it. No. And I do feel like I've earned it. Like, I don't like that I earned this. Usually that comes with, like, ego and entitlement. Like, it says who you earned something. I don't know. I feel that I've earned it just because I personally get excited thinking about doing that, because it's just not very common. Like, most of my creativity now is aimed towards, is within the business, is aimed towards, finding new couples and making a really strong brand with fantastic videos and everything, and making a life out of it, being able to support myself. And this is just cause. So, just cause. That's what it is. And good night.